take a dime. TruPlayaz, let's go. This that true player shit. We gon' make it live with Big Dom. How they gon' knock TruPlayaz shit? We gon' take it farther than beyond. This that true player shit. We gon' make it live with Big Dom. How they gon' knock TruPlayaz shit? We gon' take it farther than beyond. We ain't holding no punches. TruPlayaz, we live, homie, no frontin'. Always talk about something. So taking over, you know that the wait is over. That in your face.
What's good, everybody? It's man Big Don coming live at you. Another TruPlayaz Podcast episode. We're doing it live right now, 9:45. I know I told you guys on my post it's gonna be 9:30. My bad for being late. You know, had to arrange some things prior to coming on, so I'm on now. So definitely come in and join. You can join the chat. The podcast. I put in the link in the chat, so you can definitely come in. You can either do it by video, or you can do it by video chat if you have a camera. And the reason for this podcast is I just want to speak more about the COVID-19 situation. Before I start, I want to make sure I let everybody know that any opinions that I will express during the podcast is strictly my own opinions. It has nothing to do with the facility that I work for. It's strictly my opinion. So take that as it may. I want to speak about more of the COVID-19 situation. Right now, we're here in New York. We're not actually encountering a downturn in the curve, which is a credit to most of the people who follow the social distancing, as well as taking care of themselves, make sure their immune system is strong to avoid contracting the virus. Wearing masks in public and things like that, even though I don't like it, no one likes wearing a mask and do all these things. It's actually necessary to slow down the transfer of the virus that's affecting us all around the country. Maybe I don't agree with reopening on May 1st. I was hoping to do it, May 15th is a better day to have the slow reopening of the businesses, but it's up to the government and the governor. The reason being, I feel that everyone needs to be tested for the coronavirus, whether it's through the blood test, the antibody blood test, or through the swab. I know people who did the swab is very uncomfortable, but it's a necessary evil to catch the virus early instead of later. I'm going to give a big shout out to my fellow frontline workers, my fellow healthcare workers, my fellow healthcare workers, police officers, firefighters, grocery employees. Who else did I miss? The MTA, who still got to work through these conditions. We have all suffered a loss of a colleague through this pandemic. It's unfortunate that we have to go through that because it's part of our family. We're still the front lines. We're still the warriors that are fighting this virus head on. Even though, like I said, the curve is going down in New York, it's going up somewhere else. So what do we do from preventing a second wave? Most importantly, people gotta listen. Social distancing, no parties. Of course, we got some knuckleheads who wanted to do had a party at a house in Brooklyn. Come on, let's be smart. Had we done social distancing earlier, we probably would have been out of the woods right now. If done it earlier. Like again, we can't cry with spilled milk. We'll sort of respond to the situation in the beginning. Can't cry over it. The only thing we can do right now is work through it and get better for the future. This pandemic has affected all aspects of life. I've never thought a virus could actually stop people from going to church. I never believed it in my lifetime that would ever happen. But this is probably the first time I didn't go to Easter Mass because of a virus that we couldn't congregate and under the resurrection day of Jesus Christ and things like that. I was kind of hoping. My hope was we get that Easter miracle that God will come down and just sweep this virus away. We go back to our normal way of life. But truth be told, the way we respond to these situations, where we're acting during the situation under the pandemic, we don't deserve to go back to that normal life until we straighten ourselves first. That's very important. We got to stop with the selfish mentality, be more selfless, just overall help each other out genuinely in this pandemic, because this is the only way we're going to get through this. To be honest with you, only way we're going to get through this. I have some ideas of how we can get through this pandemic, how to avoid it in the future. Of course, we have to continue social distancing, but I want to get back to some type of normalcy also, And me as a healthcare worker, as many of there's healthcare workers who have children, who have a family, who have a husband, wife, who can't be next to them because of this pandemic, of the fear that they may pass the virus over to them, because we may be asymptomatic, but they may not be. Working in the hospital, you're around a lot of different viruses, a lot of diseases and viruses. Your body becomes immune to it, immune to certain things that we probably don't have a symptom of, but once you come back home, we can't hold on to our loved ones. I can't even play with my nephew when he comes by. I got to stay away from him. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the drawbacks of being in the field, but I don't regret it at the same time either. I just hope that we have enough PPE to last us through this pandemic without having a shortage, because that'll be the test. If we have a shortage and things like that, that'll be a big test for us in this pandemic. But all in all, I don't believe we're going to get to that point unless we have a second wave, which I pray we don't have at all. But this COVID-19 affected our life. There's no Major League Baseball season right now. There's no NBA season right now. And what I'm also talking about is the NFL draft that happened last Thursday. The draft was done virtually, in which Roger Goodell was doing it from his basement through a live, like a Zoom type of situation, like we're doing right now with this podcast. And that, ironically, is actually the highest viewership of NFL draft in history, which is amazing. But you get to see an intimate view of the actual players that are being drafted with their family members, what they're going through the process, especially when they get passed over. They assume they're going to be at a certain level of pick, and they get passed over. I kind of felt bad for CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy, because I thought they were going to be going the first 10 picks. But I'll speak more about that a little later. And we get back to my suggestions to what we can do as a society to get over COVID-19. First, we got to do the antibody testing, which we're starting to do right now. Also get a more amount of testing kits needed. My opinion, we just nip in the butt right away and test everybody. Whoever got it, just self-quarantine. I kind of don't agree with the process of putting people in a separate dwelling to be quarantined. That's kind of like being in prison in some way, shape, or form. There's different ways they can do. They can, they say it's voluntary, of course. You can say they want to pass on to their family members in the household, but if you have a spacious household and you just keep yourself in your room, self-quarantine your room. Another thing too, that I hope the facilities like the hospitals and things like that would do also is also make sure the entire hospital is. I heard a doctor mention that the entire hospital should be negative pressured buildings. It helps alleviate the amount of droplets in the air and things like that. That's something that the hospital facilities need to look into and hopefully find a way to solve that problem, so there'd be less infections to the workers, and anybody who comes in who will come in the hospital for, like, if they broke their ankle or they hurt their arm or anything that's not related to the pandemic, come in and be safe, healthy, and being safe in the hospital. They don't contract the virus or the virus while they're in the hospital when they came in for something else. So that's one thing I hope they do. I hope to speak on this a little bit more on another podcast, because, this is still a work in progress. We're still trying to find treatment for it. They've tried numerous treatments. They tried the hydrochloroquine. Now they're trying this. They were trying an antacid that possibly could help with the COVID-19. Also, I believe they have an actual, in a case study, a new treatment that could probably help us treat the COVID-19 virus. But enough of the doom and gloom. This is all for my NFL fans. Something to look forward to in September or even October if they do start the season in October. I'm going to talk about the NFL right now, people. And I'm just going to focus mostly on the New York Jets and New York Giants draft because I know there's a lot of New York Giants fans. I know there's not New York Jets fans. I'm from New York, so we're gonna talk about that anyway. Hold on. So basically, we all know the first pick went to Cincinnati. Joe Burrow was going to Cincinnati. It was beautiful to see how his reaction was. I felt that there was a lot of negative energy around him, considering wanting to be traded, that he didn't want to go to Cincinnati and things like that. But I thought he took it pretty well going to Cincinnati. And I think he's happy going there. And of course, we got the Redskins who picked number 2. They got Chase Young. I was hoping I hoped he hung out for the Giants so he'd get him at 4, but it didn't happen. And Jeff Okudah went to number 3 to the Detroit Lions. The Lions traded a lot of their cornerbacks, a lot of secondary during the offseason so he could draft this guy. The Giants, and with their pick, number 4, they took care of one of their major issues, which is offensive linemen. They took Andrew Thomas, chose number 4 by the Giants, took care of one of the issues. I will talk more about that a little later, about what they should have. I agree with the pick. I got nothing against that pick. So I'm surprised this guy, Tua Tagovailoa, went to the Dolphins. I wouldn't touch this guy, but I understand he has a talent to be a great quarterback, but that hip injury scares me. His injury history with Alabama scares the hell out of me. How's he going to fare in NFL when it's like 5 times faster? The guys are bigger, stronger and faster. If he gets hit, he'll get hurt again, then it's a waste of a pick on it. But I'm quite sure Coach Flores down in Miami knows what he's doing. He's from the Belichick tree. He'll get him up and running properly and build the team correctly around him. Justin Herbert goes to the Chargers and with the number 6 pick. They say they're going to start Tyrod Taylor over there in Chargers. I don't believe them. They should. I think Justin Herbert's going to beat him out. And Derek Brown from Auburn goes to the Carolina Panthers. Panthers are in a rebuilding stage. They got rid of they re-signed McCaffrey, but they cut Cam Newton. They cut a lot of players, older players, and they signed my man, not really my man, but they signed Robbie Anderson. So, and also we go down quickly. Isaiah Simmons, linebacker, goes to the Cardinals. C.J. Henderson goes to the Jaguars. That's probably to replace Jalen Ramsey, who they traded last year. Jedrick Wills Jr. goes to the Cleveland Browns to give protection to Baker Mayfield. He got hit a lot last year during the games that I watched. I saw him get hit a lot, and he got 2 receivers out there, Beckham and Landry, who need that ball. So hopefully that helps Mayfield gets more time to throw the football. And at the 11th pick, my Jets pick Mekhi Becton, tackle from Louisville. I'm very happy with this pick. I saw the highlights of him. He's a beast. My question is, can he be better than DeBrickashaw Ferguson? If he is, I expect Donald to have a great season, throwing that football to Bashar Perriman, and our second-round pick, which I'll talk about later, Mr. Mims, 6'3", but I'll talk about that later. The first receiver chosen, which it was shocking to me. I thought Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb would have been chosen above this guy, but this guy was taken by the Las Vegas Raiders. Henry Ruggs, a speedster, everything that the Raiders want. Al Davis throw the ball deep. And Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle, goes to the Bucks. The Bucks got the trade from the San Francisco 49ers. They swapped picks. And they got the offensive tackle that they wanted. San Francisco, in turn, picks up a defensive tackle to add more to their talented front four. And Jerry Jeudy goes to Denver with the 15th pick, which, you know, John Elway's doing his thing down there. He got Drew Lock. He got another receiver down there that's pretty talented over there, and they got Jerry Jeudy to go along with him. He got some weapons now to help that Denver Broncos team with their offense. AJ Terrell goes to the Falcons, cornerback. CeeDee Lamb goes to the Cowboys. This is, you know, in my opinion, embarrassment of riches. Excuse me. Gives whoever's going to be the quarterback weapons. You got CeeDee Lamb, you got Amari Cooper, and they got another receiver over there that's pretty talented too. That team's going to score some points. With Ezekiel Elliott running the football, they're going to score some points. Austin Jackson goes to the Dolphins. Dolphins had like 3 picks in the first round through the Pittsburgh trade for Fitzpatrick. Damon Arnett goes to the Dolphins also, cornerback. And we'll go quickly. Wide receiver goes to the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, to replace Stephon Diggs. Kenneth Murray goes to the Chargers in 23. 24, Cesar Ruiz, a center, goes to the Saints. The San Francisco 49ers pick up another receiver, Brandon Ayuk. Number 26, Jordan Love, goes to the Packers, which is shocking to me. I felt Aaron Rodgers needed another receiver to help him out, and they didn't get the receiver needed, and he wasn't too happy about that. He tweeted some things on the internet. He wasn't too happy about that. And Jordan Brooks, 27, goes to the Seahawks. Patrick Queen goes to the Ravens. Another linebacker going to the Ravens. Isaiah Wilson, offensive tackle, goes to the Titans. And Miami, another first round pick, which they traded up for. Noah Igbenogene, Auburn cornerback. Another cornerback going in the 31st pick, goes to the Vikings, Jeff Gladney. And the last pick, number 32, goes to the Kansas City Chiefs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Not H-I-L, but H-E-L-A-R-A-I-R-E. You know, he's there to replace LaShawn McCoy. So, you know, we'll see what happens with this coming season with those guys. Any questions, guys, definitely hit me up on the chat. There's a chat box on the site. Definitely hit me up, answer your questions and things like that. I'm going to go with the Jets first. Like I said, we got the offensive tackle, Mekhi Becton. He's going to be a beast. I hope he's better than the Brickashaw Ferguson, but if you give me the Brickashaw Ferguson type production, I'll be happy with that. Denzel Mills, 6'3", 215 pounds, a big receiver that we haven't had since we haven't had a decent big receiver since Keyshawn Johnson through the draft. We also had Braylon Edwards, who was pretty tall. He was like 6'2". The Jets picked up in the third round. They picked up Aston Davis, safety from California. My brother told me he could play some corner as well. Let's see what happens. I hope they don't trade Jamal Adams. I hope this is not a precursor to trade Jamal Adams. I have a very big problem. I'll have a big problem with the Jets if they do trade Jamal Adams. And the reason being is this is your best defensive player. He's the heart and soul of your team already. I see it already. He brings the energy to the team. He gives the team a certain attitude. a certain attitude that just the team would just ups. He's a leader. He uplifts the players around him, makes the players around him better. Jabari Zuninga went another third-round pick, defensive end from Florida. They say he has the same issue with Polite. I just hope they find a way to get the best out of him, which they failed to do it under Polite last year. LaMichael Perrin, running back, 4th-round pick. This is one of the picks I didn't agree with. Reason being is you had I'm all for creating a more depth in the offensive line and also getting more wide receivers. And a running back wasn't truly all that necessary because you still had Bilal Powell that you could have re-signed or went through a free agent wire to get another running back. But you say he's a Le'Veon Bell light, so let's see what happens with him at the pick. With another 4th-round pick, James Morgan, I do not agree with this pick. What he's going to do? Be on the practice squad with a 4th-round pick? Come on. If anything, that's the only issue I had. Well, there's one more issue I have with Joe Douglas, but right there you could have drafted another offensive tackle, another offensive lineman, another receiver, another lineman, to get another edge rusher. We got an offensive tackle, Cameron Clark. We got another 4th-round pick via trade with the Patriots. I'm surprised the Patriots traded with us. We got another offensive tackle. And round 5, we got Bryce Hall, cornerback. We need depth in that cornerback position. And round 6, we got Brandon Mann, a punter. You don't draft punters in the goddamn draft. You sign them. I didn't agree with that at all. Didn't agree with that. You could have got your practice squad quarterback in that round. But all in all, Joe Douglas, did a good job with the draft. Those 3 picks I didn't agree with, but overall he did a good job. He addressed the needs with the offensive tackle, with the wide receiver position. Even though he could have went more with wide receiver position, but I think he's going to look at the free agent wire, try to get himself more receivers, create more depth with the New York Jets. And I'm talking about the New York Giants. The Giants' needs was offensive lineman, pass rusher, and linebacker. I think and cornerback as well. They addressed it all through the draft. They drafted 4 linebackers and 1 cornerback, but mostly, let's go to it. Georgia, Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle, protect Daniel Jones. Alabama, the safety, Xavier McKinney. The 3rd round, you got Matt Pert, another offensive lineman, a tackle. Darnay Holmes, a cornerback, another guard. They got another offensive lineman, Shane Lemieux. And the linebackers followed up after that. 3 straight linebackers, Cam Brown, Carter Coughlin, T.J. Brunson, another cornerback, and Chris Williamson in round 7. And their final pick, which they had 10 picks in this draft. Tate Crowder, round 7. The thing about these linebackers, keep in mind one thing: the depth of the draft was mostly tackles and wide receivers. One of these linebackers could have easily went in the 2nd round or 3rd round in a regular draft, but the need was for a lot of teams was offensive linemen and wide receivers and secondary help. And you got, one of these linebackers. What the thing about the Giants is, I don't know, the Giants fans could help me out with this. Their bread and butter has been on their defense has been the play of their linebackers. They haven't had great linebacker play since 2011. And ironically, I'm sorry, they did go to the playoffs afterwards, but really what you could say that the linebacker stood out was 2011 when they won their last Super Bowl. So let's see what happens during the season. There's been an issue in Jets again with the Jamal Adams situation. He's not going to attend the virtual off-season program. Joe Douglas didn't have a problem with it, but Adam Gase claimed he didn't have a problem with it, but he made a comment about it that, well, not all. Well, they say voluntary is not necessarily voluntary. I hope Adam Gase doesn't drive a wedge with Jamal Adams in the New York Jet organization. This is a situation I believe that the owner, Chris Johnson, is coming in and put his foot in and say and tell Adam Gase, leave Jamal Adams the fuck alone. I intend to sign him. If you don't like it, resign. Adam Gase in Miami has let go. When he was in Miami, he let go Landry, Jay Ajayi, and a few other good players, which hurt the franchise to the point that they had to tank last year under the new coach for him to rebuild that squad. I don't want the same shit to happen with the New York Jets. Personally, I don't want that to happen. So Adam Gase needs to shut the fuck up and just do his job and coach your team. You have an opportunity to win the AFC East, even though the AFC East, in my opinion, it still belongs to the Patriots until someone knocks them off, like the Buffalo Bills. It's still a Patriots division to lose. I honestly don't believe Bill Belichick is going to go with Stedman as a starting quarterback this season. I just saw that Jameis Winston signed with the Saints to be a backup, which, signed with the Saints. I thought he would have went to the Pittsburgh Steelers with the opportunity to start next season, if and when Ben retires. And he didn't go there. He ended up going with the Saints. We'll see how that works out, how that plays out. And like I said, they have plans with the NFL season to hopefully start in September, but looks like more starting in October. And then we'll end up having the Super Bowl on President's Week this year. So enough of the NFL talk. I want to speak about the Last Dance briefly before I sign off. My co-hosts couldn't make it tonight due to other obligations. We'll hope to speak more about this Last Dance more in another podcast episode. Hopefully when the whole series is over. It's a very intriguing series. It speaks about Michael Jordan. It's mostly about Michael Jordan and his career with Chicago so far. Will they go into his career with the Washington Wizards and things like that? I don't think so. It was mostly about the Bulls from when he first was drafted by the Bulls all the way up to the last championship in '98, which is intriguing. I love the series. I'll watch episodes 2-3 times over. Just understand the mentality. And for everybody who wants to compare Jordan to LeBron, there's no comparison. Jordan is the motherfucking man. He took his lumps. He took his lumps from the Celtics. He took his lumps mostly from the Pistons. This guy didn't call and have friends in the league. He's like, let's join together and try to beat these teams. He kept working harder and harder every offseason. He worked harder and harder to be better so he could beat those teams with the squad that he had. Scottie Pippen came in '87, which pretty much started the ascension of the Chicago Bulls to level of championships. And they won the first championship in 90-91 season when he beat the Lakers in 5. It showed Michael Jordan's competitiveness, even all the way back when he was in the Tar Heels with Dean Smith. Spoke about, but boy, they picked on Jerry Krause like no other. I tell you, that boy was getting picked on over and over again. I feel bad for Jerry Krause, even though he was an idiot to try to bring the team up after the 72 win season. I felt bad for him. He was getting picked on. He was a short guy. He had a Napoleon complex and shit like that. And he probably was bullied in high school or some shit. And they just continued on as the general manager of the Bulls. One thing I want to speak about also with The Last Dance is how the Detroit Pistons handled the situation back then. And I saw on First Take, they interviewed Isaiah Thomas, I believe, was it yesterday or the day before? about how he felt about the situation when he walked on the court out shaking hands with Michael Jordan. And he regretted it. After so many years, he regretted it because he felt that it probably cost him a spot in the dream team. Isaiah Thomas was a president of the New York Knicks. He was a general manager of the New York Knicks. He didn't do his best job with the New York Knicks, but he did a better job than Phil Jackson. I tell you that much. Did a way better job than Phil Jackson. But Isaiah Thomas is the top 50 players in the NBA. Period. Point blank. He's a top 50 player in the NBA. He should have been on that dream team, despite what anybody thought of him. No matter what anybody said about him, he should have been on that dream team. I'm going to defend him for once. Trust me, I beat him up enough as when he was the VP of the Knicks and the coach of the Knicks. I beat him up enough times. About the time I'm going to defend him this time. And it's a poor decision that he made, him being the true leader of the Pistons, the best player on the team, to follow Bill Lambier's lead and not shaking hands with Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Basically, passing the torch over to them. It was a big mistake. And I deep down, I believe he regrets it. But, truth be told, he does have some resentment towards Jordan. He's just playing it off. It's okay. It's okay. But any player that stepped up and told Raton that they didn't want him on the team, that's a story. That should be a whole other series. I want to know who said something. I want to know who said what. That's the biggest mystery that I want to know. And hopefully, I'm actually see the next episode and see what happens. Hopefully, go into the Knicks and Bulls rivalry afterwards, which is, even though I'm a Knicks fan, I every time I watch Michael Jordan play, I gotta sit there and watch him because that's how great he was. Not because he was great, he was so competitive. He didn't cut corners. He took his lumps and kept pushing until he got where he needed to be. If they do talk about the Knicks later on in Last Dance, I will speak more about how I felt the Knicks team with the best chance to beat them was the 96-97 Knicks team. I believe that was the team that could have beaten the Bulls. Unlike Jeff Van Gundy, who claimed it was 92-93, I thought 96-97 was the better team, the more talented team to beat the Bulls. So we're going to speak more about that. And like I said, it was riveting drama going on with the Bulls, even from the beginning of the time, beginning when Jordan got there, up until the very end. It was constant. It was drama, but it was entertaining to watch. Intricacies of the locker room, how they operated, and you see why they were such a winner in Chicago with Pippen, Jordan, Grant. The first installment, then Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman in the second installment of the three-peat, and things like that. So anybody wants to, drop a comment, let me know before I sign off. Hopefully I'll have my co-host with me next podcast, make it more enjoyable. Any comments, complaints, you can hit me up on TruPlayaz Podcast at gmail.com. Also, to listen, we're doing it live. There's going to be an audio recording of this podcast. It's going to be on Anchor, Spreaker, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, JoeyG Radio, IHeart Radio, and that's it for now. Any other questions, people, let me know before I sign off. All right, cool, people. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sign off on this podcast. Hit y'all another episode soon. Like I said, any comments, complaints, feedback, hit me up on my Gmail, TruPlayaz Podcast, just TruPlayaz podcast at gmail.com. And if you want to be a co-host on one of my segments, definitely let me know. Hit me up. I got you. So this is your man Big Dom signing off. Holla at you soon. Peace.